Hello, everybody. What up? What up? What up? This is a very early live. I know I normally go live about 6 o'clock, but I have some, like I said, I got other projects. I like to stick to my word that I really need to work on. And when I go live later in the day, it kind of gets in the way. So hit the like button on your way in. Give me some ones in the chat if you can hear me. Give me some ones in the chat. I don't know how many people are going to be able to tune in because I know this is like working hours. So we're going to, but we got to talk about this. I bet. So I'm not going to waste too much time. Hit the like button, please, if you don't mind. This title is not clickbait. Erika, Kirk, and Turning Point USA are 100% considering defamation lawsuits. And not only are they considering it, but apparently this is something that they're entertaining and potentially going to be doing, and they're taking note of it. Now, I saw someone in the comment section of this video saying that they saw conflicting messages about this situation on the internet. But I'm going to prove to you that this is 100% something that this is something 100% that's real. And I'm going to let you all hear the podcast clip. This is so funny to me, man. It's so funny to me because again, I want to remind people why I'm covering this so much, because this is bigger than just Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA. This is setting the precedent for how things will be done in this country, right? My mind is blown, bro. My mind is blown. So we're going to cover a few things in this clip, in this live, and I'm going to also let you all hear from an actress. This thing has blew up so much that an actress has actually broken down. Listen to this. An actress has broken down Erika Kirk's clip and gave us her perspective from an actress's and because she also has a background in psychology, much like myself. And hold on, let me get this right. She is going to break it down so that we understand why it is that she believes that they're lying. Heck yeah, hit the like button on your way in. So let's go ahead and hop into this. Let me go ahead and hop into this. Let me show you all what the heck is going on. So as of October 4th, at least this is when it broke on Twitter, as far as I'm concerned, it has 1.5 million views or impressions. Breaking: the Kirk family and Turning Point USA are preparing defamation lawsuits against media outlets and figures who smeared Charlie Kirk after his assassination. TPUSA spokesman Andrew Colvett said on a podcast with Scott Jennings, quote, "We are seeing it all and logging it all. We have good lawyers," end quote. Do you support this? No, I do not. No, I do not. Yesterday, I told you all, or let me pull this back up. For those of you who may be joining a little later, let me pull this back up so you can see this. Yesterday, I told you all, I said, I will fight. I was talking with a buddy of mine yesterday, and he was telling about all the guys that was around Charlie Kirk that had on shades. And I thought it was suspicious that none of them took their glasses off. And even though he disagreed, something else he said, though, he said one thing that he does agree that has been happening is all the people that have been facing punishment that has laughed and made fun of Charlie Kirk's assassination. And I told him I 100% disagree. That is right. I disagree with that. I do not think, I think that I'm going to quote exactly what I told him. I said, I will fight tooth and nail, and I will give everything in my power and in my being to fight for my worst enemy to be able to say whatever they want about me. I will fight tooth and nail because we are in America. First and foremost, whether we was in America or not, that's a basic human right. You should be able to say whatever you want about me. Now, I'm not saying that gives people the leeway to be able to quote unquote defame me and affect my bottom line, especially when we're talking about the government. But people should be able to speculate about me as much as they want. They should be able to give their opinion about me as much as they want. Now, if they're stating things to be fact that is verifiably false, then that's different. That is not, and that's what we're going to get into with this Erika Kirk situation, because I have some questions. If they're going to be suing people, I have questions. But before we get into that, I'm going to let you all hear Andrew Kovic say it himself, so that it's not speculation. This is 100% something that Turning Point USA is entertaining. Listen to this. Hold on. Of course it does this. Let's get into this. Where is it at? Where is it at?
Too early yet for you to say, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is Turning Point, is the Kirk family considering any kind of legal action against people who are defaming Charlie Kirk, the organization? I mean, it makes my blood boil, just to be honest with you. What are your options when it comes to dealing with this?
Yeah, no, actually, Scott, I'm really glad you brought this up. I mean, just candidly, and I appreciate it. I've done a number of interviews in the last couple of days, and nobody has asked me about this stuff, I think, out of respect. I'm glad they didn't. I wasn't ready to talk about it. And absolutely, I mean, we have all of our friends out there on social media. They're sending us all this stuff. So just trust me, we are seeing it all. We are logging it all. And I'm not prepared to get ahead of ourselves or Erika or the organization, but I will say that we have really good lawyers, and I completely agree with your sentiment that bad people intentionally lying and maligning the legacy of Charlie Kirk, who, by the way, Scott, was the most decent man I have ever worked with, the most truly good and generous and loyal and full of integrity man that I have ever worked with. He was one of those rare types that the more time you spent with him, the more endeared and the more to him you were, the more that you just loved the way he did things, and really just loved the man. He was truly one of a kind, and he was truly good inside and out. And I would just say that these people that never knew him, and they want to take a man that spent literally years and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of hours of footage, and they're going to try and parse one or two things he said and act like that was somehow the definition of a man, and not even give you the context, by the way, is just so dishonest and so gross, because they will take 0.001% of anything he said and ignore intentionally the 99.999% of things that he did and said. And I listen, I don't think anybody's buying it. I don't want to give them more time than they deserve, but yes, Scott, we have good lawyers.
For those of you who may be questioning this, let me tell you the title of this video. The title of this video is called Legal Revenge or Legal Vengeance Coming for Those Defaming Charlie Kirk. Now, one of the first questions I have is, what is your definition of defaming? Who gets to decide that? What's up, everybody? Hit the like button, please. Hit the like button if you don't mind. What's your definition of defaming people? And remember, Erika Kirk is officially the CEO of Turning Point USA. Not only that, but they've already, almost immediately, they've already found a replacement for Charlie Kirk. I forget the kid's name, but the kid is going to be speaking in place of Charlie Kirk on college campuses. Isn't that quite immediate? How did they find somebody that fast? But I have bigger questions. Who are they talking about? Like, when you're saying that you're about to start suing people and you're preparing lawsuits and legal documentation and legal vengeance, who are you talking about? Are you talking about the left, who laughed at Charlie Kirk's assassination, which I think is abhorrent? I think it's evil. Laughing at someone assassinated in that manner, if you believe he was assassinated, is evil. Right? Who is she talking about, though? Who are they talking about? Are you talking about just the left? Are you talking about, when you say media, Are you talking about CNN? Are you talking about MSNBC, Fox News? Who are we talking about? And how are you getting to decide what's defamation? Is questioning all the red flags considered defamation? And when you say Charlie Kirk was an honorable man, when you're talking about Charlie Kirk was an honorable man, I think there was several honorable things about Charlie Kirk. I agree. There were several things about Charlie Kirk that I mean, I've talked about it many times. I vehemently disagree with the guy on. He even said one time that he believes that children should not receive free lunches. There's multiple different reasons. He said he thinks the parents should be responsible for that. There's multiple different reasons why that's a bad idea, a terrible idea. And in the end, the children will suffer in the end. But one of the biggest questions I have is this clip that I just played for you all was 2 weeks ago. Did you know that? It was 2 weeks ago. The post that I showed you was just 4 days ago, which tells me that there has been some things that has happened in the past 2 weeks, like Candace Owens. Candace Owens has only ramped it up more and more and more and more. And now she's calling out Turning Point USA. Remember, she has called out Turning Point USA, and it went viral. She wouldn't say people's names outside of the pastor, but she said that the entire Turning Point USA makes her sick. So the entire time that this clip played, that's what I thought about. I wonder if Candace Owens is one of those people. Because Candace Owens has come out and said that Charlie Kirk was a particular way right before he passed away. He said Turning Point USA is allowing other people to lie about Charlie Kirk. So is Candace Owens going to be one of those people that they're going to sue? But for those of you that have not seen the clip of Candace Owens, I'm about to play it now. She calls out the entire Turning Point USA and says that she is disgusted with them. I wonder if Erika, Kirk, Andrew Covid, and Turning Point USA is going to consider this as slander, as defamation, because she publicly challenged them to come out and tell the truth.
Charlie's super ambitious, and on the AV thing, they were trying something new, and they wanted to be able to feed it back instantly to Arizona. None of it, because these events are typical. But again, something new, okay? So let's stick with that theme. Do you want to know something else that was brand new leading up to this event? Charlie's perspective on Israel, okay? So let me say this so you can hear it. Charlie Kirk's perspective on Israel was not starting to shift. It had shifted entirely, okay? There are no ifs, and there are no ands, and there are no buts about it. Israel knew that. Turning Point USA knew that because Charlie was explicit. So my question is, why isn't Turning Point USA making any statements and shutting down this repeat attempt by Israel to lie and to pretend that towards the end, Charlie was just authoring love letters to Israel, giving them a perspective of here's how we can win here's what you guys need to do. You need to work with this Hillel, whatever it is. Yeah, the same people that are calling me anti-Semitic, you need to work with those people harder. And he was just putting it on paper. Was it an email? What was that they were sharing on the New York Post, the Israeli Post, right? What were they sharing there? He wrote of his deep love for Israel. He had nothing else to do in May. Wrote of his deep love for Israel to a letter to Netanyahu. Netanyahu said they were close, but in the letter, Charlie puts his number, which apparently Netanyahu didn't have his number. And we're supposed to believe, did he send that as an email, by the way? Can somebody clarify? Was that an email they were sharing, or did he send it in the mail to him? Could somebody share that, please? I'm assuming it was an email. Can someone share the timestamp on that? Just kind of like authenticate that email, because I'm very aware of what's going on, okay? And I don't know how the executives over at Turning Point USA sleep at night. Okay. I don't know how
There
you
we go.
can present yourselves as a Christian organization and not be dedicating yourself to the truth. No matter what the cost is, you tell the truth. That's it. Okay. You don't hide it. You don't try to obfuscate it. You don't try to say, well, wait until the memorial event before we start looking into who murdered him. You tell the truth and you tell it immediately. And I don't think they're capable of doing that. And I have an idea as to why that is. I think the same people that were pressuring Charlie are pressuring them. In fact, I know that for a fact. So they might need my help. Okay. I'm going to state this, and I'm going to challenge Turning Point USA executives to issue a very clean statement saying that I am lying if this is not true. About 48 hours before Charlie Kirk died, Charlie informed people at Turning Point, as well as Jewish donors and a rabbi, that he had no choice but to abandon the pro-Israel cause outright. Okay. Charlie was done. He said it explicitly that he refused to be bullied anymore by the Jewish donors. Can you guys answer? Did he express that? Did he also express that he wanted to bring me, Candace Owens, back because he was standing up for himself? And then did he, just 48 hours later, conveniently catch a bullet to the throat before our onstage reunion could happen? It's a yes or a no. Okay, let's stop this ditching. Let's stop the dodging. Let's explicitly, I want to hear from Turning Point USA that I'm lying about that. I want you to say, no, it was just, he was feeling a little bit of pressure. No, I want you to literally answer what I have just said. It either happened or it didn't. I'm either making it all up or it happened exactly as I'm saying. And while we're at it, may I ask, what is the name of the Jewish donor who sponsored the Hamptons weekend? Okay. And to Pastor Rob McCoy, were there any LLCs that you or your son were being paid through that sat outside of Turning Point? I'm asking that question genuinely. Yeah, I'm putting the fire here right at the feet of Turning Point because I am disgusted. I am genuinely disgusted. I am looking around and wondering whether Charlie's entire life was the Truman Show.
Wow.
None of you guys are behaving in the way that you should be behaving, okay? There is no way you are letting these lies fly unless, as I am hearing, unless it is true that there was a big payday that was on the line. And if Charlie radically stated that he was done with Israel, if Charlie said he had no choice but to abandon the pro-Israel cause because of, and I quote, Jewish donors, the behavior of Jewish donors, if he said that, yes or no, well then, I don't know, maybe some people didn't want to take that risk that he was going to become Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson at Turning Point USA with all of those presences, so much presence across college campuses. Maybe they didn't want to take the chance. You see, I'm just one person, so it's easy to just try to cancel my life and lie on me every second of every day. But Turning Point USA, I think, got a little bit bigger than Charlie, and I'm no longer going to allow this lie in this narrative. So answer the questions, yes or no. And I'm going to, again, challenge you to lie. And if you do lie, I'm going to expose the lies, and I'm going to start dropping videos, actually. So that's where I'm at. Enough of the games, enough with trying to allow Israel to wrangle a narrative that you know is not true. Charlie did not die pro-Israel. He did not die for Israel. He did not martyr himself as a friend of Israel. In fact, the friends of Israel were pressuring him really badly, and he was done, and he finally stood up for himself. And I'm proud of that. And I will say this, you know what? Somewhere, Charlie is watching, okay? And I hope he knows that we are reunited, okay? We're on stage right now, and the Jewish donors are very angry about it.
That's a very interesting thing to say. Let me rewind that. What did she just say at the end?
Out of that. And I will say this, you know what? Somewhere Charlie is watching.
I'm not going to put no words in her mouth, but, Candace Owens is still publicly saying or stating that she believes that man was actually pow that day. And if that's where she is genuinely, then that's where she is. I just find it very difficult for her to believe that. If she actually looked into it the way many of us did, it's going to be very difficult for you to remain at that conclusion. Everything does not have to be a conspiracy, but I'm saying I'm looking at it for what it is, right? I also find it very interesting. I want you all to, she said that she believes that Turning Point USA did not or was not saying things about or are not coming out and telling the truth because she believes that they're facing the same pressure that Charlie Kirk was facing. No, Candace. Maybe that's part of it. There's something else going on here. When you look at Erika Kirk's behavior, you think these people are being blackmailed or threatened? Is that what you're stating? Because ultimately what I'm getting at here is when it comes to anybody that had close vicinity to Charlie Kirk or has close vicinity to Charlie Kirk that has been critical of them, this has probably been one of the harshest things I've heard anybody say. And I still don't think they're harsh enough, in my opinion. But she's calling them out. Is Erika Kirk and Turning Point USA going to sue Candace Owens for telling them to stop lying or stop allowing other people to lie and to come out and tell the truth? How's that going to work? And another thing I want to point out is notice how Candace Owens said something that no one else has come out and said. We all saw for our own eyes, heard with our own ears, Charlie Kirk was being critical of Israel towards the end. He was more critical than he had ever been before. However, no one has yet to come out and say that Charlie Kirk had 100% abandoned the pro-Israel camp. I don't think I heard anyone say that. And not only that, because so many people call Candace Owens a liar or they say that she don't provide receipts. She says that she is challenging Turning Point USA to come out and call her a lie. And she's going to start dropping videos. Don't know what that means exactly. But I would like to assume, for obvious reasons, that these are videos that none of us have seen before. Right? She also called out the pastor and said that is there is there some sort of LLC outside of Turning Point USA that where they were receiving money? So what is she alluding to? What is she alleging here? If that's not considered defamation, and I'm not speaking this into existence, I hope that she's not sued, but I don't wish that on anyone. But it would appear to me that if you're Candace Owens and you're critical of them, the way that she is in this clip, and she's even alleging or alluding to a pastor that was super close to Charlie Kirk receiving funds, Candace might make that short list of people that they may attempt to sue or send some sort of legal documentation to. And that'll be crazy. The optics of that, it's already crazy to me that you're going to try to sue people for being critical of you or lying, because that means that you're going to have to prove it. I think that means you have to prove that they lied. It's either that or you're going to have to force the person to prove how they know something to be true. Or maybe both things has to be true, right? Now, if you come out and you just say something crazy like Erika Kirk was behind what happened to Charlie Kirk, I understand. If you come out and irresponsibly say some things like that, which could impact your bottom line or even put your life in danger, I'm with you. But if you're going after people that's just critical of you, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So I'm curious to see if they're going to go after Candace Owens. And before I show you all this next clip, I want to remind you all of something or bring something to your attention. Do you all remember when Candace Owens was fired from the Daily Wire? Let me show you how hypocrisy works. This woman was critical of the so-called black community to the umpteenth degree. And a lot of it I agree with her on. Some stuff I think she took to the extreme because she was being supported for it. But Candace Owens told a lot of truth about the destruction and the dysfunction in the so-called black community. Now, the truth of the matter is the people that's behind it, it's not totally so-called black people's fault. But what we're responsible for, the lack of accountability, the dysfunction, the debauchery, right? Hood culture, she's absolutely spot on. Whether black folks like her, the so-called black people like it or not. But here's the worst part. She did that for years. The moment she started to do that with the other community, Ben Shapiro and them kicked her to the curb. Hypocrisy 101. So we all know that. We don't have to revisit that. Here's the worst part. It wasn't just Daily Wire. The people that she claimed to be friends with, this is a harsh reality that you're going to learn in business. People are going to choose business over friendships. They're going to choose that bottom line over friendships. They're going to choose their professional relationships over their personal relationships. Even though Candace Owens never fully stopped attending Turning Point USA events, it drastically changed when she was fired from Daily Wire, because Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk had a different relationship than Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk. When she was fired from Daily Wire, the amount of time she was speaking at Turning Point USA events drastically dropped. That's crazy. I don't care how you feel about Candace. You give that woman credit where it's due. She's critical of that same community that you're not allowed to talk about on all these platforms, which is why I have to talk about it the way that I do now, instead of just saying the community that we're talking about. She was critical of them the same way she was critical of the Black community. And in some ways, I'll say she's even went even harsher. The elite part of that community. You give credit where it's due. And she suffered the consequences for it. Not just through her immediate employer, but the other companies that they were in partnerships with. Even though some of those people called her their friends. Right? That's some of the behind the scenes stuff that y'all don't understand, especially as a YouTuber. There are some people that get millions of dollars in funding, hundreds of thousands of dollars in funding, and you can tell who gets that funding and who don't. Because a lot of these people are playing characters. If you ever listen to a content creator or an influencer saying things like those influencers we listened to the other day that was just like saying all these crazy things about Palestinians, you really can't believe that. There's no way you actually believe that. No, they believe it. No, they believe it because they're playing a character. They're being paid to say these things. Don't fight your intuition. If you watch an influencer and it appears as if they're acting, or they have a position that just sounds so ludicrous that the only logical explanation is that they're probably being paid, financially influenced to influence the masses, then you're probably right. Speaking of trusting your intuitions, we're about to get into this actress who exposes Erika Kirk from an acting perspective. She's going to tell you all the cues to look for. And why she claims in the video, she knows for a fact that Erika Kirk is acting. She said it with her full chest. But before we get into that, hit the like button, everybody. Please hit the like button. I want to address what Andrew COVID said in his clip. He said, absolutely, they're entertaining the idea of going after people legally who, quote unquote, defame Charlie Kirk. Because Charlie Kirk, they're misrepresenting a lot of things that he said. They're not providing the full context. They're misconstruing. Charlie Kirk was this honorable person. Well, here's my question for Erika Kirk, Andrew COVID, and the entire Turning Point USA leadership. If you believe that people should be sued for voicing their opinions about Charlie Kirk, tell me if you believe, if you're consistent, tell me if Charlie Kirk should have been sued for this. Hold on one sec. I don't know why I keep doing this.
Gives these speeches and it just has this aura of totalitarianism. My team says she's Indian and Caribbean. I'll tell you what, she would be a lot easier to beat than Joe Biden. A lot. I mean, Joe Biden is a bumbling, dementia-filled Alzheimer's, corrupt tyrant who should honestly be put in prison and or given the death penalty for his crimes against America. But Kamala Harris, my goodness, there's something that just kind of is tribal where people are like, I don't know if I want this crazy person running the country.
So he and we're on the same page when it comes to cackling Kamala. I'm with you on that one. I'm gonna be nice. I shouldn't have given her a nickname. I'm with you when it comes to Kamala Harris. Didn't care for it at all. But what did you just say about Joe Biden? Let's go back here.
Dementia-filled Alzheimer's. It would be a lot easier to beat than Joe Biden. A lot. I mean, Joe Biden is a bumbling, dementia-filled Alzheimer's, corrupt tyrant who should honestly be put in prison and or given the death penalty for his crimes against America.
Bro, you went on your platform and said that a sitting president should be given the death penalty. I don't care where you fall politically. You believe that what people have been saying about Charlie Kirk is worse than this. Wishing death on a sitting president. Yes, the left does it as well, but I don't play the left-right game. What I'm telling you is, if you're consistent, should President Biden or the Biden family then or even now come out and sue Charlie Kirk? This man just wished death on a sitting president for his quote-unquote crimes against humanity. May I remind you all presidents, all politicians are corrupt. If you're sitting at that level, there has to be corruption involved. That's a fact, bro. That's a fact. Are you all consistent? But let's move past that. How come since Charlie Kirk's quote-unquote demise, or since the Charlie Kirk incident, how come all these people that claim to be close to Charlie Kirk, claim to have the same political views as Charlie Kirk, are now pushing things that Charlie Kirk did not push? You give credit where it's due. Charlie Kirk, he encouraged opposing views. He embraced it. He went towards it. The man literally traveled across the country and debated people that felt differently from him. Ironically enough, one of the things that he said in Utah was, "What's up, Utah? Send me the best liberals or the best libs Utah has to offer." The crowd roars. They cheered. They embraced it. They were looking forward to talking with this conservative. But the moment he passed away, Pam Bundy comes out and says that they're going to do what? Because when Charlie Kirk was here, he did not believe that there's a such thing as hate speech. Yet when he passed away, Pam Bundy comes out and says this.
Free speech, and then there's hate speech.
No.
And there is no place, especially
Hold on.
after what happened to Charlie.
Let's run that back.
There's free speech, and then there's hate speech.
No.
And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people, so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything. And that's across the aisle.
No, it's not. Notice she never clarified what hate speech means. Why is it that Charlie Kirk, the whole situation with Charlie Kirk happens, and then this administration comes out and says they're going to target people based on, and what really ignited this was all these people saying these things about Charlie Kirk's quote unquote assassination. Now all of a sudden, they're against hate speech. There's no such thing as hate speech. There's no such thing as wrong think. Who gets to decide that? The current administration? What about the last administration? What about the administration after them? Do they get to decide what hate speech is? It will always vary. The government shouldn't be able to do that. This is not something Charlie Kirk stood for. Furthermore, this lawsuit that they're now saying they're entertaining was also something that Charlie Kirk was not for. The Kirk family and Turning Point USA are preparing defamation lawsuits against media outlets and figures. That's a really key one as well, because they're going against influencers and content creators who smeared Charlie Kirk after his assassination. Turning Point USA spokesman Andrew Kovic said on a podcast with Scott Jennings, "We are seeing it all and logging it all. We have good lawyers." That is absolutely laughable to me. And that's why I put the laughing emojis on my thumbnail. I'm not the laughing emoji, the laughing picture of myself on the thumbnail. Because this is laughable. This cannot be real. Charlie Kirk did not stand for suing people who said things that hurt your feelings. He believed in the Constitution. The Constitution does not give people the leeway to lie and defame your character to the point where it's affecting your bottom line or even putting your life in danger if you're able to prove or articulate that. But people saying critical or harsh things about you or speculating about you is 100% covered under the Constitution. 100%, right? The First Amendment literally protects people's right to express opinions, criticize public figures, and engage in debate. For example, if I was to say I think Charlie Kirk was wrong for X, Y, and Z, you are 100% allowed to say that. Or Turning Point USA is corrupt. I can literally say that I believe that they're corrupt. That is protected opinion, right? The government can't punish you or censor you for that. Other people can do what they want, but you are protected under the Constitution to be able to say that about other people too. However, like I said, you can't say things that are false about people if they're able to prove that it's false. I'm curious, how will they be able to prove if someone says something about you as it pertains to Charlie Kirk? How are you able to prove it? The fact that Tyler Robinson was arrested? Because most people that I've seen cover this, we've mostly all come to the conclusion either that Tyler Robinson is a patsy, which is one of the things that apparently Turning Point USA is upset about, that people is calling Tyler Robinson a patsy. That Tyler Robinson is a patsy, or that we believe that it could have been an inside job. You would have to prove that it wasn't an inside job. How are you going to do that? Because I believe the FBI is going to have a really hard time proving that Tyler Robinson did it. That's my opinion. Everything I say in this video is alleged, right? Now, I want to cover something, what libel means. Libel means like written defamation, and slander means spoken defamation, right? You can't make a false statement about somebody, blah, blah, blah. I get you. But you would have to prove it though, right? So for example, if people online are saying things like, I think something suspicious about Charlie Kirk's death, or Turning Point USA is hiding something, that's literally protected speech. That's not libel. But if someone was to claim as a fact something that is provably false, that's different, right? Like Erika Kirk did such and such to Charlie, right? Something like that. If we can prove that she was somewhere else on camera, then I'm with you. But that's not what we're finding. That's not what we're finding at all. Now, I want to show you all a video of an actress who covered Erika Kirk. And this will be a great example of something I'm wondering if Erika Kirk, Andrew Covid, Turning Point USA is trying to argue is considered hate speech or defamation, because they're criticizing the way that she's behaving, right? So let me pull that video up.
Hi guys, so I keep getting.
So this YouTuber, her name is the name of her YouTube channel is called Nadia For Real. Nadia For Real. I'm going to type it in the comment section. Nadia For Real. Hit the like button, everybody. Hit the like button. What does it say? Diddy got a podcast, new subscriber, and I checked your Patreon. Great job, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right. Let's get into this actress and what she decided to, or what she thought about Erika Kirk. Remember, she has a background in psychology, much like myself, and she's an actress. So she's about to tell you what she is looking for to deem if someone is acting or if they are genuine from an acting or an actress perspective. Let's hear what she has to say.
Getting asked what I think of Erika Kirk, her speeches, her recent behavior on the podcast, and if I think that any of it is real. So I'm here to assure you with 100% certainty that I'm not buying it. Now, before you come at me in the comments, keep in mind that this is just my opinion. You might have a different opinion, and that's fine. I'm not here to change your mind. But if you watched her thinking something's off, I agree. And today I'll show you the tells in her first speech that led me to the conclusion that she's full of it. Let's get into it. I'm a trained actor and I've worked in film and on stage for years, and I can tell you that any trained actor can see right through Erika Kirk. Good actors have different methods of getting into character. This allows them to express the genuine emotions that the scene elicits. But bad actors always have the same MO: exaggeration and melodrama. One of the biggest tells of a bad actor is gesturing, also known as the Vanna White effect. If you don't know who she is, Google her. For example, they deliver the line, "I have a headache," while rubbing their temples or grabbing their head to show you how much pain they're in. But does anyone actually do this?
Exactly. Does anyone actually do this? Once again, everybody, the name of her channel is called Nadia For Real. I also typed it in the comment section. Here, let me type it again and I'll pin it. Nadia For Real YouTube channel. Maybe I can't pin it. So, okay. So what did she just say? She said that a way to know or to tell if someone's acting is that they're overly dramatic. That reminded me of the clip yesterday of this kid. Hold on. It reminded me of this kid right here.
Okay, this is that Hunter guy.
Dude.
Asked Charlie the question right before he was shot. Okay, this is that Hunter guy that asked Charlie the question right before he was shot. And this is him, literally, Charlie hasn't even gotten there yet. The crowd's still waiting on him. And he keeps making that same gesture that he made right when Charlie was shot that we've all seen. And everyone's like, oh, he's so traumatized. Like, look, why would he even be doing that? That's very odd. And just something to look at. Yet again, something weird that stands out and doesn't make any sense. Why would he be doing that before Charlie even arrived? So is this just a random coincidence, or is he literally preparing for how he's going to react because he knew it was coming?
I gave you all my opinion yesterday on what I thought. I believe that this person was preparing. I believe that this person was rehearsing. I do. Everything I say in this video is alleged. I'm just giving you my opinion. I'm not saying that it's a fact. That's my thought. I was already suspicious of the person who asked the question because I said, even if they weren't in on it or had no foreknowledge, it was interesting that he was asking a question about transgenderism and about gun violence. And the moment he asked it, Charlie Kirk gave his response, and the last word that came out of his mouth was violent. And then everything took place. I was suspicious, and I said that on live when it first happened. But his reaction, like, I'm not saying there's nobody in real life that do that, but that's normally what you see in the movies. That's normally what you see on cartoons. How many times do you see people really do this? Yeah, sure. You got your exceptions, man, but that's not normal. So that 100% aligns with what she said. Now let's continue.
When they really have a headache, the challenge for the actor is to live as if something were true while knowing that it's not. A good actor can temporarily suspend their disbelief to create an illusion for the audience. But when the actor can't even get themselves to believe the lie, they gesture to try to convince us to believe it. And Erika's entire speech is just one big gesture after another. I can already hear you saying, well, Erika isn't an actor, but I disagree. She's just a really bad one. The first red flag for me wasn't anything in the speech, but in the timing of her address. She had just seen her husband get shot right in front of her 2 days prior, but was somehow still able to deliver a 17-minute coherent speech in full hair and makeup. Whether it's your spouse or not, witnessing a traumatic event like that has marked effects on a person's ability to function at least temporarily. Sudden severe trauma causes not just emotional distress, but cognitive dysfunction, because the amygdala, responsible for fight or flight and for our emotions, is in overdrive, which causes a shutdown of the prefrontal cortex, where we process information. That's why people who experience sudden severe trauma are often rendered speechless. But not Chatty Cathy. She had plenty to say and did so without a hitch. The second red flag was the sound quality of the video, or I should say the lack of it. Turning Point USA has access to state-of-the-art equipment, so why wasn't she mic'd? Even if they'd only used the internal mic from the camera, we still wouldn't hear this excessive amount of crackling static. In my professional opinion, this sound effect was added later with editing tools to make the recording sound off the cuff and unplanned, which then leads me to wonder what the metadata would say about the date and time of this recording. I'm not making accusations. I'm just wondering. As we go through this speech, I want you to notice something really strange. Not the fact that she's not actually crying, because you can see that for yourself, but I counted 7 times that she pats her dry eyes with a tissue, and every single time she only pats her left eye. That's weird, because real tears come from both eyes. Also notice that her gestures don't flow naturally, but are motions that start and end with specific verbal cues.
Yep, that's a fact.
Notice the sound. It's a lot. Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. If you are a person of faith and you are calling upon God, your source of strength and inspiration to help you, this is something that you're going to do private, right? No person of faith is going to display this, in this super dramatic, all this whispering, that's not authentic. It just is not. Like, that's very performative, and it's trying to show, like, I am a person of faith. I am struggling with this. Like, if you are truly struggling, and this is one thing that you will learn as an actor, a person who is truly struggling is always trying to hide it. That's what we do when we are truly struggling. We try our best to hide it. We don't put it on display. When this is, again, the gesturing, when we gesture to, how we're feeling, or, oh my God, and what am I going to, this is all fake. Okay. You guys have to realize this, like, in your regular life, when you are dealing with people in your regular life that do this type of gesturing, just be aware that they are trying to manipulate you, because that's all that is. A person who's truly struggling, you never even can tell, because they are trying to hide it so much. So let's just go on. And also, you notice the crackling sound, the background sound is just horrible, and there's no real reason for it. So moving on.
Good evening. My name is Erika Kirk. Charlie Kirk is my husband. I first want to thank the local, state, and federal law enforcement who worked tirelessly to capture my husband's assassin so that he can be brought to justice. I want to thank the first responders who struggled heroically.
Okay.
Dude.
This, again, is intolerable to me. I'm going to try to keep it together, because I told you guys I would, give you all the tells, but this heroically, like, that is inauthentic. That is performative. Right. Okay. You don't, something that she does a lot in this video, she repeats words that she wants to really let you know that she's feeling. And that is, again, a device. A person who is being authentic is just going to say how they feel, and that's it. If they have to say thank you, they will. And it's just surprising to me, and I'll go into it later in this video, but that a person who has just gone through such a traumatic event, right? Not only was he her spouse, but even if he wasn't, let's pretend.
Right.
Being in a crowd and seeing someone get right in real time is an extremely traumatic event. This is not something that renders most people able to coherently give a 17-minute speech 2 days later. Right. Most people will be very much like unable even to process simple things, because your mind is not working in the same way. Your prefrontal cortex has been shut down pretty much. It's been compromised because your amygdala is in overdrive. Your amygdala, which is like fight or flight, which are our emotions. The amygdala, when you see something like this, when you experience a sudden and severe trauma, your amygdala lights up. And when that happens, your prefrontal cortex shuts down. So all of your reasoning, your logic, all of this stuff just goes out the window. That's why a lot of people that go through stuff like this don't even know what time it is, what day it is. Things just lose meaning.
100% agree. And that's from the perspective of an actress. And this comment is spot on. Hidam said, I know all this and I'm not an actor. I have zero acting experience. I'm spot on with you. But she asked, like, this video is like 35 minutes long. I highly encourage you all to go and watch it because she gives all the points. I just wanted to cover one or two of her points from an actress's perspective, because there are certain things that they're looking for. There are certain things they know that you're trained to do when you're acting, right? When you're trying to convey something. There's a difference between real life and acting, as we all know. But it's a difference between us as regular people and knowing what to look for as an actor or an actress. She hits it spot on, saying when they saved him heroically, bro, what is this Saturday Night Live skit? Like, what is that? Like, don't insult our intelligence as human beings, right? And so are they going to be coming after people legally who says that Erika Kirk was faking? Is that considered defamation? Saying that Erika Kirk seems to be extremely jolly and glowing and happy since all of this has happened? Are they going to be coming after us for saying that? I'm curious who they're going to be suing. That's what I'm curious about. That's what I'm curious about. I want to show you all one last thing. One last thing. Let me see if I can get this pulled up. I want to show you all one last thing. Let me see if I can get this pulled up. One last thing. Because there's something that I guarantee many of you overlooked. So, did any of you remember this right here? So we reacted to this video yesterday. Oh, they're going to be so loud. So if any of you have time, this is my request. Go and check out the video right after he was supposedly pow-powed. All right? Go and check out the video. Hold on one sec. Because they are really loud. Okay. So I have a question for you all. Or a request. Whenever you get a chance, because I can't play it here on YouTube, go and watch this video of when Charlie Kirk was pow-powed. Did anybody notice something? Not a single one of his security details pulled out a weapon. Did anyone notice that? Not a single one of his security details looked for an open threat. So if I am a part of your security detail and you was just pow-powed, aren't you going to look to see where the pow-power is? Aren't you going to look and search and try to figure out, pull out a weapon to try to take out the perpetrator? As soon as it happened, everybody focused on Charlie Kirk or took off running to their spots. Did anybody notice that? Not a single one of them, outside of the fact that they all kept on shades the entire time. No one looked for it. How did you not know that this is a mass power? This person could be walking around campus trying to pow as many people as possible. You don't know that, right? So how come when it happened, you didn't even look for an open threat? You didn't even look for anybody else. You all focused on Charlie Kirk. That makes no sense. They didn't even duck. Exactly. Exactly. They didn't even look for a threat, bro. That's going to be something that's going to be undeniable. Where are your weapons? Why didn't you pull out your weapons? We've already covered there's no red liquid, no autopsy. That some people are claiming that there's an autopsy. I'll believe it when I see it. No red liquid, no autopsy, no ambulance, no police, no campus police, no caution tape, no media at the hospital, no proof that you went to the hospital. And supposedly the hospital that you're telling people you went to wasn't even the closest hospital. But okay. Okay. Whatever. But for those of you who didn't catch it, I'm going to play this clip of Andrew Colvin one last time, and then I'm going to get to Super Chats, and I'm going to end this live. For those of you that did not catch this, this is what Andrew Colvin had to say about legal vengeance against people who are saying things about Charlie Kirk that is considered slander or defamation.
Maybe too early yet for you to say, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is Turning Point, is the Kirk family considering any kind of legal action against people who are defaming Charlie Kirk, the organization? I mean, it makes my blood boil, just to be honest with you. What are your options when it comes to dealing with this?
Yeah, no, actually, Scott, I'm really glad you brought this up. I mean, just candidly, and I appreciate it. I've done a number of interviews in the last couple of days, and nobody has asked me about this stuff, I think, out of respect. I'm glad they didn't. I wasn't ready to talk about it. And absolutely, I mean, we have all of our friends out there on social media. They're sending us all this stuff. So just trust me, we are seeing it all. We are logging it all. And I'm not prepared to get ahead of ourselves or Erika or the organization, but I will say that we have really good lawyers, and I completely agree with your sentiment that bad people intentionally lying and maligning the legacy of Charlie Kirk, who, by the way, Scott, was the most decent man I have ever worked with.
Isn't that something that they accuse the left of doing? Bad people? Who decides who's bad and who's good? Who decides that? You get to decide that as a conservative. You're supposed to be for free speech. But now you're entertaining suing all these media outlets and influencers or figures who are saying things about Charlie Kirk that are offensive. Wow. Wow.
Most truly good and generous and loyal and full of integrity man that I have ever worked with. He was one of those rare types that the more time you spent with him, the more endeared and the more to him you were, the more that you just loved the way he did things, and really just loved the man. He was truly one of a kind, and he was truly good inside and out. And I would just say that these people that never knew him, and they want to take a man that spent literally years and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of hours of footage, and they're going to try and parse one or two things he said and act like that was somehow the definition of a man, and not even give you the context, by the way, is just so dishonest and so gross, because they will take 0.001% of anything he said and ignore intentionally the 99.999% of things that he did and said. And, I listen, I don't think anybody's buying it. I don't want to give them more time than they deserve. But yes, Scott, we have good lawyers.
That's laughable, bro. It's laughable. I'm gonna tell you all what I think is going on, and I'm gonna read some super chats and get up out of here. I believe that Erika Kirk is being primed to run for president. I do. Either president or vice president. I believe she's either being queued up to run for vice president alongside JD Vance. I believe Trump's job, along with JD Vance, is to help push Palantir. I believe Erika Kirk is either they're trying to prime this woman to get her acclimated or familiarized with the American people, which is not working. I think they're doing a terrible job. But you do have your audience of people out there that are in the comment section saying things like, oh, she's grieving and I feel so bad for her and she's going to do such a great job. When this woman is constantly, she can't even give a speech without sounding like she's reading from a movie script, using terms like, what were some of the things that she said in her speech that regular people wouldn't say? The something of truth, something she said. She said, captured the, I was like, what? Like, nobody talks like that in real life. Even in a speech, you're evildoers. Bro, I hate to laugh, bro, but evildoers, Tracy, exactly. Evildoers. Lady, what is this, man? Like, that's not how regular people talk. Even if you wrote it beforehand, that's not how regular people talk. No, even somebody says she has writers. A lot of people have writers, but you're still supposed to talk normal. Evildoers? Who says that? What is this, an 1800 script? Nah, bro. No. I believe they're priming this woman to be in politics. That's what's going on. Her background with Israel, JD's weird background. I also believe that they could potentially be going after what's his name, Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes has said some very critical things of Erika Kirk. All the things that we're thinking about. Let me see if I still have that clip. Let me see if I still have that clip. I guess not. Nah, that was the same day. I guess not. But that's all right. Nick Fuentes has been very critical. So he may need to be on the lookout as well. Okay. Measure Man, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Let me get rid of this. And here's the kicker. Discovery will be brutal. The media ecosystem and content creators won't sit quietly. They'll unify, counterfile, and amplify. I agree because when I got to think about myself, and some things that I've said, but I try to be responsible with my videos. Yeah, I'm going to say some things that's critical, but I have good reason to be questioning these things and speculating these things. I don't state these things as facts as far as like Erika Kirk is guilty of this or guilty of that. But I am going to hold your feet to the fire if it's necessary, right? This man is actually entertaining. And somebody asked me, why am I surprised? I'm surprised because they're supposedly from, close friends of Charlie Kirk. You give credit where it's due. Charlie Kirk wasn't for that. I didn't hear Charlie Kirk, advocating for suing people who said things about you that either wasn't true or you disagree with. He encouraged people who had different opinions about him and about his beliefs to come up and have a conversation. You're going to sue people? It seems to me that you're taking the Donald Trump route, which is not surprising at all when you think about it from that perspective. Right? You're suing people for wrong think, in my opinion. Cynthia Boyd, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I appreciate your channel and for being brave enough to expose the truth. Well, thank you so much, Cynthia. I appreciate it. Definitely. Lauren, thank you so much for this comment. That's right, I started. Does Candace Sealer still believe he was actually unalive? Surely she can't believe this crap, right? We all know it was. She has to be trolling us. Listen, let's give her time. That's a big step for her to take, but I do see down the line, I do believe she'll come to that conclusion, in my opinion. And I don't think she'll be the only one, whether people choose to publicly say it or not, because they'll, especially if they're backed by sponsors, you know, which is why I mentioned that earlier. Y'all got to think about that stuff too. But I think Candace will come to that conclusion if she hasn't already, because it appears to me that her team lives on the internet. So they've seen the theories. Again, before I thought Charlie Kirk's team turned on him. That's what I thought. But then when I saw that there was no red liquid anywhere on anyone, when none of them pulled out weapons to look for the person that did it, I'm like, did they know it would only be one shot? Why are they not looking for the person that did it immediately? Why are they not ducking? Why are they not trying to take cover? They immediately started tending to Charlie Kirk. The other people immediately ran to their positions and started recording with their camera phones. What is this, a movie set? Come on, bro. Bro Bonus, Elite, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Do you personally think Erika wants Candace to stop? That's a very good question. I'm going to answer this on a one-dimensional level and on a three-dimensional level, or on a two-dimensional level. On a one-dimensional level, Bro Bonus, I believe, on a one-dimensional level, yeah, I think Erika Kirk wants Candace to shut up. But I think if she reaches out and tells Candace that, even though Candace has admitted that if Erika or Candace's husband or Candace's dad tells her to stop talking about it and investigating it, then she would do it. I believe that even though she stated that, if Erika Kirk goes out of her way to tell Candace, I'm uncomfortable with what you're doing, please let the FBI do their job. Stop looking into this. It will be way too suspicious. And a person like Candace, you just don't know what she's going to do afterwards. Candace might say, you know what, guys? I thought I wanted to stop, but after she asked me not to, there's just too many red flags, too many holes in this FBI's narrative. I'm not going to stop. And to be quite honest, I think it's weird that Erika would ask me to do so. I don't think Erika want to risk it. That's from a one-dimensional perspective. From a two-dimensional perspective, I believe no, because there could be other narratives that could be going on. People could be in cahoots behind the scenes. I don't want to say too much with that, but I'll just say from a two-dimensional perspective, it's possible that she wouldn't mind, or she would probably even embrace it because it would just make things around the whole Charlie Kirk situation, at the very least, it would make it more confusing. But as long as it's Candace Owens don't have any direct evidence that is proven, you know, Erika Kirk to be guilty or complicit in some manner, then I don't think it'll really be mean as much. You know, allegedly. Which, by the way, I got some merch coming. Y'all be careful. Y'all be patient with me. Heck yeah. But y'all in the comment section, as always, let me know what you think. Hit the like button if you don't mind. Thank you so much. I'm gonna log off of here and get back to this project. I got a really big video coming soon that's completely unrelated to anything Erika Kirk, Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, anything political. All right, y'all. Peace.